What's up, you guys? Welcome back to another day of the Health and Wellness Summit. My name is Courtney Miracle. I am your host. I am here today with one of my really good friends, Josh Tan. Josh, how are you today?
I am doing fantastic. Thank you for having me on the summit. Super happy to be here.
Of course. So Josh and I got to meet last year at a business. I don't even know what it was. It was kind of a little retreat getaway. And I have so much respect for you. So I just love having you here. So tell us a little bit about what you do and kind of how you got there.
Awesome. Thank you, Courtney. I am a business growth consultant and transformational coach. I've been through a series of different chapters in my life, starting with being an engineer for 10 years. And through that process, learning all the things that make me unhappy. Learning all the things that make me unhappy, stressed out, and that deep knowing that something was off led me to studying myself and studying all these tools and techniques and strategies and psychology and physiology, how the physical brain works, to help myself, to really make myself feel better, fix myself in a way. Engineers, we love to fix things, so that helped me propel myself and my career to its peak, at which point I decided to walk away and become a life coach. So then I was coaching a lot of people with these tools around healing and self-growth and self-transformation, so that we're not held back by our external circumstances, so that you're not held back by how much money you have or how hard your job is or whether you're single or not. Those were the things that I had to deal with. And I really dove into all those areas of study to share with myself first. Now I'm sharing with others. And I've come full circle now to work with business owners as a consultant, leveraging this technical mindset, this engineering mindset to help grow businesses and increase profits while maintaining a healthy life, a healthy balance.
I love it. Yeah, our journeys are so similar. It's kind of crazy, but it's that, okay, I'm not happy. How do I become happy? And then you realize that whether it's business, whether it's life, whether it's health, they all go together. And I love how much you put all of it together, because it's not just like, I'm going to put these things in this box and then hope that everything over here goes well, right? So tell us about when you're working with people on sort of the transformation on their life side. I know that you combine mind, body, spirit. So talk to me a little bit about what your process looks like.
The mind, body, spirit are three areas of health: mental health, emotional health, and spiritual health, that are, in my opinion, critical for this well-balanced, have-it-all lifestyle.
Yeah.
A lot of people think they can fix things just with effort, willpower, consistency, and then they're not treating the real causes underneath. Like, is your belief system aligned? Are your emotions clean? And are you connected to something bigger than yourself? And those are my three pillars in the life transformation work that I do, to help clear people and get people empowered, feeling invincible, feeling confident. The number one thing that we always start with is the mindset. Is your mindset right? Do you live in possibility, or do you live in scarcity? That's the first question. Are you looking at things as problems or opportunities? It's such a simple shift, but honestly, we are biologically wired to think negatively. It's a survival instinct. Biologically wired to think negatively. So it's actually training to get yourself to think the opposite way. And within that mental space is, what words are you using to describe yourself, your life, your business, your partner? Your words, so critically important. If you even use if you use fun versus amazing, those are two completely different contexts. If you use hard versus challenging, again, two completely different contexts. And most of the time, people spend 90% of the day in their heads, of which they have 80,000 thoughts a day, of which only 4% are new thoughts. So you're stuck in this cycle of having these repeating thoughts. And if you're not careful, you're most likely repeating negative thoughts to yourself, speaking negatively to yourself or about your life. So that's one thing we clear up first, is really your mindset. What are you thinking about, and how are you speaking to yourself?
I love that. And it's such a big deal, because if you don't pay attention, if you don't have awareness around it, And you're like, what do I think every day? And then you wake up and you're like, oh wow, those really like these thoughts are not moving me towards the life I want to go to. They're keeping me stuck in the life I have. But I think it's something that's so important. And I know that you talk about how those thoughts actually affect your brain and your chemistry. And the fact that it goes together, it's not just like, I hate the word woo woo, but it's not just this like, let's hope that we change our words and it works. It actually like physiologically works on your mind. So I love that. So that's kind of the mind piece. What's your next step that you work through with people?
Yeah, once you get your mind right, if you are using your mind properly, like you said, different areas of the brain interact differently with each other. So having something like a gratitude practice or a celebration practice, they're actually triggering your mind to release hormones like serotonin and dopamine, the reward receptor. So just by speaking kindly to yourself, you'll be able to keep yourself motivated, and that's going to fuel you to feeling good and fuel your emotional state. Most of us, we are making decisions again from the mind, trying to do things out of willpower. Really, if you were to change your emotional state into a positive state, into feeling good, into feeling abundant, you'll just do the actions just because you feel good. That big smile says it all, Courtney. If you're having fun, it doesn't feel like work. If you appreciate what you do, you'll do it endlessly, endlessly all day long. But the one problem with emotions, the biggest problem with emotions is most people walk around with this garbage can of emotions that they never take out to the curb.
Yeah.
They just stuff it down. They just bottle it up, all these feelings of resentment, anger, sadness, and the really heavy emotions like shame and guilt. A lot of this stuff is unseen because we live in a society where it's not okay to emote. You know, men don't emote. If a woman is crying, there's something wrong with her. And we just keep bottling it up, and those turn into, eating disorders, they turn into drinking problems, they turn into gambling problems. So the emotional space is about cleaning up that emotional space, releasing any attachments to what caused them, where did they come from, what are you making them mean about yourself. So once you release those emotional states, you're also going to, again, restructure the brain and release old belief systems, which are holding you back. That's really where the transformation happens. If your belief systems are not aligned with your goals, you'll never get there. So releasing that garbage can of heavy emotions and filling it with these positive emotions through different practices and using your mind is the second step.
Yeah, and it's so true. I mean, I mean, obviously I had an eating disorder and it was not that I wasn't feeling, but I had so much stuck negative emotion that the good stuff can't get in, right? I mean, my one of my mentors always says, I like the garbage can analogy, and she always says it's like you're constipated with the bad emotions, and we got to feel them and get rid of them, and then you're like, oh wow, there's all this joy and lightness out here that you weren't letting in, right? And I mean, I lived through that, so I know that, but I love the garbage can analogy. So if somebody, before you go on to step number three, if somebody's like, okay, I realize this stuff is stuck, do you have a couple simple tips for somebody at home that they could do right away to start to bring some awareness or some release to this?
Absolutely. In life in general, look for where you're triggered. Look for where you're triggered. Triggering can show up as many different symptoms. Can show up as numbing out, looking for distractions outside of yourself. This is drinking, which is one of my past demons. It could be drinking, it can be going out gambling, it can be online shopping. So any kind of distractions, any kind of hyperactivity, like being unable to control yourself, lashing out at somebody else, word vomiting on someone. Look for those kinds of triggers and then walk it backwards as to what started it. And that's where your work begins. What started it? Oftentimes we're triggered by the same type of person or the same type of words, the same type of language, the same type of action. And then you can just trace that back as a thread to start unraveling. That's one way to bring awareness. And on the emotional side, if you are going through an emotional state, and for men, it can feel like anger, for women, it can feel like guilt, these emotional states, to not judge yourself for feeling them. especially with men now, and what I'm finding in a lot of men clients and business owners is anger is a taboo subject. You're not allowed to be angry. Especially myself, I was not in touch with my anger for a very, very long time. And that was eating me up inside. So getting in touch with your emotions just simply starts with, do not judge yourself for feeling a certain way. And that will open the door.
Yeah.
How wide you want to open the door is the next.
Yeah, I love that. Anger is an interesting one. When I was doing this kind of work with my clients too, of like differentiating anger and aggression, right? It's like anger in and of itself is not bad, but very few people actually differentiate aggression. Like taking my anger and giving it to you, that's not okay. But just feeling angry is not a bad thing. But like you said, we get told like don't feel, don't cry, don't be angry, don't do those things. And when in truth, like you need to feel that stuff, because then you can actually process what's going on. And as business owners, right, like stuff is going to happen that makes you really unhappy. And if you don't have a process to deal with that, to deal with the customer, to deal with the manufacturer, to deal with the with the employees, with yourself, whatever, like you're going to end up causing, like you're going to lose money because you don't know how to deal with that stuff. So yeah.
Oh yeah, buckle up for that.
Yeah. Get ready because it happens. Awesome. Okay, so then what is the third step to your process?
The third step is this spiritual process. It's the spiritual side of life. Life is a spiritual game. As Tony Robbins says, business is a spiritual game. People are now finding in psychology that the happiest people in the world give back to others. The happiest people in the world see others as themselves. They have a compassionate place. They're connected with other people. On my journey to the top, I really found that I was really like egoic, trying to be the number one engineer in the facility, trying to always climb that next ladder. And that will just keep you separated. It'll keep you comparing yourself to others, judging others for less than you. And whether you believe in God, the universe, or spirit, there's something that put us here. And having a relationship with that, having a relationship with that inner place inside of you is where you can start to find things like self-resourcing yourself. Self-resourcing yourself, meaning how do you stay motivated in the form of challenge? How do you put trust in something outside of yourself? How do you let go when you don't have control and know you're still going to get to where you need to go? And having that connection inside of you to something greater than you is the fuel to the fire that keeps you lit up, keeps you motivated, keeps your fire burning in the middle of a rainstorm.
Right. It's that faith, right? Of like, okay. And what you said about control, that was a big thing for me when I started my journey, was that I was a control freak. I had to control all the things, all the people. And I remember my mentor saying, and if you've ever heard me, like you guys watching, if you ever heard any of my story, I talk about control all the time because she said control is an illusion. And I was like, no, I'm not okay with that. But when I realized I got to be the creator, and I know you teach this, right? Of like, you get to create your life. You don't have to control it because you have like way more power to create it. And I'm telling you, that was the biggest switch in my life. And I know that you do that for your clients, of like, I get to create this. Like I don't have to, and in a business world, right? I don't have to control my employees or the people. Like if I give them the power to create, and I let them live in this energy of creation, everybody's going to do better, and the business is going to thrive, and people are going to come to you. And it's all of that stuff that technically could be woo woo is directly applicable to self transformation, to business transformation, to growth, to all of those things, which is what I love so much about what you do, of like bringing that personal transformation into a business and transforming all of it at once, right? Because businesses are just people.
Businesses are just really big, complicated people.
Very complicated people, but if you make all the people happy, then you make great businesses, right?
Yes, absolutely. And honestly, as much as you could do for someone else and how that'll transform your life, as much as your business can do for their customers, that will transform your business as well. That's the spiritual game in your business. How much can you do for your customers? How happy can you make them? How much can you please them? How much can you deliver? How much can you satisfy them above and beyond, what they say, over deliver, right?
Yeah.
So that's really the giving aspect of business.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. Well, tell the viewers where they can find you, how they get in contact with you if they want to work with you on a one-to-one basis, or if they have a business that they would like some help in. Where do they find you, and kind of how does that work?
Absolutely. Link up with me on LinkedIn and on Facebook. I'm very active on both platforms. Josh Tan, very simple, Tan, just like the color. And you can email me at josh@joshtan.net if you want to know more. We'll set up a quick 30-minute call just so I can understand who you are, what you're up to, what you're creating in your life or your business, and if I'm a good fit. We're very well connected. Courtney and I are very well connected. So if it's not me, it's someone else that I highly trust and respect. And I want the best for you. Obviously, Courtney, I want the best for you and I want the best for myself. There's plenty to go around. So let's get it connected and let's see what magic we can make.
I love it. I love it. Well, thank you for doing this. Hopefully you and I get to see each other in real life soon. We live on other sides of the world, but not the world, just the country. Josh, thank you so much. You guys reach out to Josh. He is literally one of my favorite humans, and he is so good at what he does. So if he hit your soul, reach out to him, and we'll go from there. But we'll see you guys tomorrow for another episode. Josh, thanks for being here, and I'll chat with you soon.
Thank you, Courtney. Always a pleasure. Chat with you soon.
Okay.